talk about independence. I was going to do this for the 4th of July, but I thought no one's going to have time to listen to anything on the 4th of July weekend. Everybody was out having a lot of fun, and the weather was so summery that it really brings on the vibe. So let's discuss this now. So thinking back, because you had Juneteenth, that was the commemoration of the end of slavery, which, independence, and then Independence Day following on right after that. So it kind of makes you think about, do we really value our independence? Do we appreciate the independence that we have? Or do we have things that we are dependent on? People, situations, substances, that we're dependent on, mindsets. There's so many things. So I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit and kind of flesh it out yourself. See what you're thinking. What rings true to you? When do you feel free? And when do you feel stuck or dependent on something? So I'd go back to, we'll start with me going to college. I had to claim my independence so that I could get financial aid so I could go to the college I wanted to go to. I had no one standing up saying, Ann, I'm going to pay for your college. I knew my mother didn't have the money. My dad didn't step up. I don't know what his financial situation was, but so I got scholarships, I got grants, but I had to claim my independence. So from that time, I was 17 years old. I hadn't even turned 18 yet till the October of the first semester. I was independent. I got a couple of dollars here and there from either my parents, but I took student loans out too. So that was kind of the financial burden of it. Otherwise, I had grants that paid for, the dorm, tuition dorm, meal plan. And then when I went off the meal plan, I had to just make enough money. I was buying my own clothes at that point also. So from almost 18 years old, I've been independent financially, and I was able to make my way and then start to work. I had a work study job that turned into a permanent full-time job where I worked my way up and became a manager of the department. So all those things in a short amount of time, I was able to do that. So I was a very independent person for all those years until I got married. So then you're talking about, you're in a relationship, you make compromises. My first marriage, I think he was more dependent on me. I don't know, a little bit of codependence going on there. It was a short marriage. I was living in Brooklyn. So in that case, I wasn't dependent on him financially. I was still independent financially. If anything, he was more dependent on me. It didn't last very long because it was not, a real, say, co-creation of what I would say is what a good relationship would be, where you're equally giving and taking in whatever ways, in a way. And so then when I went into my other marriage, which was a few years later, I was in my early-ish 30s at the time. We moved to Ireland. I started having children right away. So that created a situation where I did what I felt we had to do at the time, and what I wanted to do at the time, was having the children, moving to Ireland. I had been in London where I met him, and then we moved to Ireland. But I was in a foreign country. I wasn't a citizen. I didn't even know if I was allowed to work or to get paid for work. I started doing digital marketing from 2000, just before I had Alan, my second child. So, then I had 2 children, and I was starting doing web development and being an online marketing person, and also helping with my husband had started his own accountancy firm. So I was doing the marketing and admin for that. So I was working and we were generating income into the family. And when I had my web development business, I was earning some money, not much, but I was earning some money. So I had a bank account that I had sole access to. And then there was our joint account, which I probably had a debit card to, and things like that. But because he was an accountant, I let him deal with the finances. But then I started working more full-time in the practice and not doing any web development work. So then I had no money coming into that other account. So then I had to then go to my husband for everything. So that's when I should have thought, this probably isn't a great idea. And we were under a lot of pressure because we were running the business. We had a small farm thing going on there. We had the children. So I lost my independence. And once I realized it, right? Because it's not like you just said, like, okay, I'm giving up my independence. It's just kind of situations happen. I think this happens to a lot of women. Obviously, in the generation before me, my mom's generation, it was much more common and just sort of a done thing that, women didn't expect to have their independence in a marriage. But my generation, I expected that fully. I never expected this to happen. And once I realized that I was in that kind of situation, it wasn't easy to get out of because I tried to find work, but at this point I was into my 50s. I'd been working for myself for a long time. I wasn't even sure if I could legally take a job. I was legally resident in the country because of my marriage, but I hadn't sought to become an Irish citizen. So, and just because I was just working in the firm and it seemed to be okay, I never sought legal counsel as to what my position was in order to work for anyone else. So, but it just, the opportunity didn't come up. Like I thought that like in my profile as like a digital marketing person, that I was kind of known in the industry around Ireland, that people would be dying to work with me. But I just think that when, at a certain age, and you'd been working for yourself for so long that people probably were like, she's probably not the ideal candidate as an employee for someone. And then I had, things just seemed to all point to be moving back to the US because I wanted to be near to my family and I felt like I needed my family support at that point. I thought it was the best thing for my daughter. And it's been successful for us. So, but that was my way to get my independence. But with independence comes responsibility. So then I was solely responsible for myself financially, and in all other ways, so you've got your independence. So that's the financial independence, physical independence, like, the freedom was just unbelievable, because in a relationship too, you're often catering to the other person, which is great, because they'll cater to you. Like I said, there should be sort of a back and forth that's more equal. But if it gets to the point where like I felt maybe judged, right? That I had my hair pink and it all faded and I'm going to do it again before the turn-up conference. But he wouldn't have liked that because he wouldn't have thought that that was suitable for someone working in an accountancy firm. He wasn't crazy about tattoos, right? See my, I have one on my back also. I won't show you. He wasn't crazy about tattoos, and that was something that I said, like when I was leaving, I want to be able to do what I want to do without being judged. So now when I'm looking at potential partners in life, are they going to be judging me for these things? Because if I sense any bit of judgment, I'm out of there, right? If I sense that I might be dependent, and so some people are emotionally dependent, and that's not surprising when you're in a serious relationship or a long-term relationship. you are likely to be emotionally dependent. But again, if it gets to a certain point where they're not respecting your feelings, your opinions, and things like that, then, so, and it's very difficult. Like, I've actually had a couple of friends reach out to me that were unhappy in their marriages for advice as to how did I go about, how did I get the courage? How did I, make the decision to make the change and make the move to do that? Now, family support. So my brother was a big support to me during that time, was very, very important. Because I didn't have an awful lot of friends in Ireland either. We were just so busy with our businesses and with our kids, with the family, that we didn't have a huge social life. We were kind of each other's. And I think that's also, like in our case, we were married, we lived together, we worked together, and we didn't have a lot of outside social interactions. So, there were things that going back, if I'd done those things differently, maybe things would have turned out differently. So it's important to have your circle of support. And that comes up in most of the things that I discuss on here. You shouldn't have to do things alone. And I know, and I've felt alone a lot in my life, throughout my life. Like I said, I left home at a very young age, moved to New York City. And even though it's a big city and you're surrounded by millions of people, it can feel very lonely. But I had my independence. But so having a circle of people can help support you when you're looking to push for your independence. Other types of dependence on food, right? That emotional security, the hit that you get from food. Some people might have other substances, cigarettes, alcohol. There are times maybe I was drinking a bit or partying a bit, or, that I might have been dependent on that as a release, to escape what other problems you might have. It's a very common form of dependence. If you are dealing with that, like, you definitely should be seeking support, whether it's through therapy, whether it's through, AA, NA, or something along those lines, where that group is a support. Again, again, with that, you need the support, you need a sponsor, you need somebody that understands and will listen unconditionally and without judgment. So in all of these cases, right, there's that common theme: having support, being free from judgment, having unconditional support and love. That's to the case of that. So, having independence from substances, having independence from judgment from other areas as well, and self-judgment, right? Because I know sometimes you have those negative mindset, like always, like in the back of your mind, right? In your head there. Like I was just writing, I did a video to apply to speak at the Turnip conference that's coming up. And mine was about my lack of self-love for so many years, but being involved in Turnip really helped me with that. Because I just had that, like, I'd be walking along happily down the street and catch myself in the window and think, oh my God, that's what I look like. I'm so fat. My hair, my face is so round. Why does my face look like that? When I think I look different, and then you catch yourself and all of a sudden your whole mood goes down. Like, who wants to live like that? And I lived like that for so many years. And there were a few times, like, I tried therapy, coaching, joining different support groups, reading books, doing things. And as you've seen in all my past episodes, like, I've done different work that helped me each get to another level and then another level. So it's not something that's going to change overnight. You've got to just keep working on it. And you might slide back a bit. You know how like the curve of progress, it's kind of up and down, but it's kind of steadily moving up to a better place for yourself. But it's sort of keeping those things in mind, but having support. So I'm building a community here that's going to be a support for women that are looking to move to the next level in their life. So for some of you, it may just be like, I'm stuck in a bad situation and I need some support to get out of that. Or like so many people like dislike their jobs and are working a 9-to-5 or worse kind of schedule of a job that they just hate, but they just don't know how to get out of it and how to find something better for themselves. Like so many people are in situations like that. I think that with COVID, a lot of people made changes because it really made people look at what did they really want in life. So that there was a bit of a shift in that, but there's still probably a lot of people, and I hope none of you are in that situation. But if you are, again, hopefully this community can then help you then make the next step into getting a bit of freedom in that area. Because like I said, it's having the support, it's having like unconditional support and love, having a judgment-free zone, you know, having people that will understand and maybe have advice for you and have been through it before and can help you with what you're going through right now. You know, sometimes you just need someone to listen. Like I'm a fixer, so I have a hard time just listening to people without like saying, oh, but you could do this and you could do that. And, you know, that's why I'm doing this now, because that's me and that's the type of person that I am. But sometimes I realize, with my friends and my family, it was a hard one for me to realize with my daughter that I just need to zip it, listen, understand, be there for them. Sometimes you need just that. Sometimes you need to take things a bit further, you know. So I'm trying to think if there's any other areas of dependence or independence that I wanted to talk about, but it was pretty much like those kind of, you know, your free will, being able to do what you want to do. If I want to color my hair or get a tattoo, if I want to spend money on what I want to spend money on. But then you have the accountability for it. So with independence comes responsibility and accountability. So I think that that's just something you have to understand, but not be afraid of, because you can do it. You can do it if you want to start your own business, you know. Take some time out when you're on your 9-to-5, you know, in the other hours, take time to work on that. Find people within this community that can help you with that, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else. I just want to have this community of people that are bringing all this life experience, work experience, all from all different levels of bringing it in, different things that we've gone through, that we've learned from, because that's, to me, you know, they say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey and your ups and downs and all that you've learned along the way that have made you the person you are today, and that you're going to continue learning and growing from all of these things. So I hope you had a great Independence Day. I hope your summer is getting off to a wonderful start, because I feel like it's only just started. But this weather is insane, right? But that's what, you know, we're here for. So I'm going to put some action steps in the accompanying email article, and I hope you found this helpful. Please give me feedback. Are there any other topics that you think would be good to discuss and work on? I'm pushing back. I'm going to be doing a free webinar on how to clearly define what it is you want, getting clarity with what it is that you want and need, which is going to be the start of the launch of Raising Your Voice. I'm pushing that back to August, to after the Turn Up Conference, because I'm going to be promoting it at the Turn Up Conference. So thank you for listening, and I hope to hear from you soon.